And we're back for game number 2 of this best of 3 LGD gaming, taking on Neo.int, both international teams. I had such a clever way to say that. You ever just have that happen where you think of something during a break or whenever you're getting ready to speak, and you're like, oh, I've got such a great way to put that. Then you go to turn the phrase, and the phrase goes, nope, sorry, we're not sticking in your head today. Just not going to happen. As it is, though, LGD Gaming put on a clinic, to put it kindly. It was Dr. Kevorkian's clinic, a very ugly, bloody, I'm talking tarps hanging from the walls to stop the blood splatter kind of clinic. Housing Neo.int. I mean, call it what it is. Not trying to hate on them, but just calling it what it is. LGD looked in top form. And a lot of people are anticipating some surprise picks here in game number 2. I really wouldn't be surprised myself to see it. LGD is not a team, or I should say, I need to identify them better. LGD International. Don't want people that are new to Dota hearing LGD and assuming it's the same squad if they go and watch the other LGD squad play. This is LGD International. But they are a team that is not afraid to experiment if they feel they're at the advantage. And it would be hard not to feel that way after how well they played in game number 1. Now, Neo.int, again, is not a team to sleep on. They have had some success over the last month, and they have a lot of talent on their squad as well. They're led by the United States superstar. Yeah, I think that's being generous to call him a United States superstar, but he is still a great player, Ninja Boogie. I'm going to be looking to turn things around with his draft here now, so taking a look at the bans, Bad Rider Magnus and the Nyx Assassin as well as the Lone Druid. And I'll tell you what, I don't think I'm ever going to get used to the fact that Asian teams just do not ban Darkseer or pick Darkseer. We'll see. He'll probably be first pick now because I said that. But I've seen Darkseer slip into the second pick phase, or second ban phase rather, quite a few times already. And I've only been, this is only my second outing for the G-1. So that's interesting to me. The Lone Druid making his way into the first ban phase isn't the biggest surprise in the world. Especially against a team like LGD Gaming, or LGD International, I should say, who excel at the hero. They really run the hero extremely well. And they're going to go ahead and pick up a Lifestealer. Don't hate that entirely. Gives them a lot of flexibility. And I'll tell you, just based on what I've seen, not just here in G1, but particularly watching the D2L powered by Raidcall, that Lifestealer, in my opinion, functions much better whenever he has a little bit of help so far as mid-game damage. Now, the hero is not awful late game. If he gets ahead in terms of levels and farm, he will be able to put together an inventory that's scary, and he will just blow people up. That just happens, especially if he goes with a very aggressive build like an early Desolator. For example, Armlet Desolator is a little unstable just because of what it gives you comes at such a high cost, but at the same time, if you're far enough ahead, that kind of a build on a Lifestealer will allow you to just blow someone up. Like 3-4 swipes and you have a dead support for the most part. But where I think he does the best is when he has some support coming out of another carry, usually run in mid. Lifestealer works quite well out of both a defensive and an offensive tri-lane. And speaking of offensive, LGD might be heading in that direction. Seeing the Rubik and the Clockwork pickups here just scream that they're going to want to run an offensive tri-lane for the second game in a row. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. No reason for them not to, given the wild success they had in game number 1, running an offensive tri-lane up against poor Neo.int. And Lena, level 1 at 7 minutes into the game. That basically tells you how well their defensive tri-lane went for them. Lifestealer going to be a little bit harder to lock down than a Lone Druid if they do indeed decide to run that tri-lane offensively.
5 seconds
but still very susceptible. If I'm in Neo.int's shoes right here, I think I just go ahead and pick a defensive tri-lane that is going to be hard to engage into. Try to buy yourself a little bit of time. Give yourself some time, some breathing room, and make LGD think twice about running an offensive tri-lane at least as aggressively as they did. Seeing the Clockwork and the Rubik pick up, that is just so scary to deal with, and I'll tell you why. Telekinesis, even at just level 1, is one, and there's a Queen of Pain pick. I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's what I like to see. That's kind of what I was driving at when I was talking about the situations in which a Lifestealer seems to do the best to me. And they are kind of going the direction I suspected or thought they should, which is picking up a very high-tier support, an excellent support defensively and offensively in the Shadow Demon. So seeing that Queen of Pain pick up, I love that. There are some heroes I would even prioritize above that. But for the most part, that's what I'm talking about. Having some damage, reliable damage, on a hero that is going to get her level should have no problem in mid against pretty much anyone. And she's going to be able to work in conjunction with the rest of the team to either allow Lifestealer to maximize his potential before he has up a lot of items, or at the very least, to buy him some time. If she does okay, they start to move around, apply some pressure, and of course the Lifestealer bomb that comes out of the Queen of Pain. And that's kind of where Lifestealer is. He's an excellent hero, a tier 1 hero in the eyes of many casters, in the eyes of many players, but he does need help. And one of the ways that he can really be helped a lot is by abusing Infest and the way it works with a number of heroes, Queen of Pain being one of the foremost among them. So they get that reliable mid-game damage out of the Queen of Pain pickup, and now Lifestealer has a reliable way to get into these engagements by investing in the Queen of Pain before she blinks into Scream of Pain and to Sonic Wave. And that becomes a very potent ganking lineup as well. So, back to LGD, they have picked up the Weaver, and they could honestly offensively tri-lane all three of those heroes without much of a problem. And Weaver in an offensive tri-lane is really hit or miss. It's usually feast or famine. If the other team is just much better at dealing with the pressure and with the supports that you pair with that Weaver, he could be shut down just by investing in some sentry wards and making it much more difficult for him to reliably do damage. I mean, his right click is not that amazing early on, even if he is putting points in the Geminate attack. So if you're able to keep him down in levels and try to shut him down, don't let him max out Shikuchi, then his damage output begins to fall off quite quickly. But when you have a Clockwork and a Rubik with telekinesis, able to telekinesis people into the cogs or just telekinesis them into right on top of Clockwork, you can then drop the cogs on them. Weaver's going to be able to stay safely on the other side of those cogs while Rubik and Clockwork eat up the majority of the attention. Now Rubik is going to want to position himself well as well, but Clockwork is just going to be, the meat shield that he usually is. But we'll see how LGD wants to do this. They could also safe lane the Weaver if they wanted to, and go ahead and add another hero to go with Clockwork. They could off lane the Clockwork if they wanted to do two defensively tri-lane, or hell, they could solo safe the Weaver or the Clock at this point. So very unpredictable lineup draft so far out of LGD. And we can see that they just don't want to give. I see, and looking at their bans, with the Lena and the Leshrac bans out, it could go either way. But what that indicates to me is that they don't want any hero who synergizes well with the Shadow Demon. And that's going to be because I suspect they're anticipating a defensive tri-lane out of Neo.int, and they want to do everything they can to not struggle in putting pressure on that Lifestealer as he tries to farm. And we saw in game number 1 just how well a Leshrac synergizes with the Shadow Demon. Lena, basically the exact same mechanic in Light Strike Array. So taking those two heroes out takes out two very potent support heroes that Neo.int probably could have benefited from quite a bit. In the meantime, Neo.int is just thinking team fight. And when you see a Clockwork, there are so many heroes that work well with the Clock. Undying being one of them, Puck, Sand King, the 3 bans out of Neo. Just basically paying homage to how threatening that hero can be and just how confounding he can be to any kind of mid-game plan you happen to have. So LGD does go ahead and ban out Shakiro. And just trying to narrow down the supports that Neo.int could use. And again, I suspect that's because they are going to be offensively tri-laning once again. And they just want to try and soften up that tri-lane here in the pick ban phase as much as they possibly can to secure themselves a much more advantageous matchup so far as that goes. Pretty much impossible to know exactly how they're going to lane this. I mean, in fairness, Neo.int could offensively tri-lane if they really, really wanted to. Lifestealer can work well in that situation so long as he has proper support. Shadow Demon leading off with a disruption into Soul Catcher, and then Lifestealer able to open wounds. I mean, that is potent as hell, even at the very early levels. Now, they're going to pick up an Invoker. Now, seeing that Invoker pick up with the Queen of Pain, I think that does tell us that they do plan to offensively tri-lane, because usually both of those heroes are going to want solo lanes, and really the most reliable way to run an Invoker anywhere but mid is going to be to run him in the solo safe lane. So they feel confident that LGD is either not going to be able to or not willing to offensively tri-lane. And that might be a decision they need to make. But, well, and the matchup as it stands right now kind of worries me a bit for Neo.int, because a Weaver versus an Invoker should do absolutely just fine if they want to solo long the Weaver. And as good as Invoker can be, we'll see if he wants to build Quaswex or Exort. But as good as an Invoker can be, allowing a Weaver to free farm, which really that Weaver would not have a ton of trouble doing, I don't think. If Weaver gets a good start, we've seen Weaver is played by a multitude of different players, just completely dominate the map at 30 minutes in. Darkseer will be joining us this game. That'll be out of LGD Gaming. Now, we saw a real fun, I'm just going to toss this out there. We saw a real fun combination of Darkseer plus Clockwork, two of the most short, stout, adorable little bastards you've ever seen in your life, running against the defensive tri-lane. And they actually dominated. Utterly dominated. That was Rattlesnake in action the last time I was here in Group A. And they ran that unbelievably effectively. So just want to put that out there. Just want to toss that out there and see how they want to wind up their lineup. But really looking at, I mean, LGD International just has so many options open to them. Clockwork, Weaver, Darkseer all can handle mid if they wanted to. They can handle a solo lane if they wanted to. They can solo safe or long. Darkseer can jungle quite effectively. And this last pick should tell us a lot, but I'm pretty confident, having seen how this is going so far, that the Invoker will be soloing the safe lane with the Queen of Pain mid, and the Illusion will be looking to run an offensive tri-lane to try and abuse whatever LGD happens to try to bring to bear. We'll see if that's going to be reality. If you're just tuning in, I'm Ayesee here solo casting, at least for now. Maybe if a certain someone had rolled out of bed like he said he was going to, I'd have a co-caster. Maybe he'll join me for the second series, though. But this is the G-1 League, the Asian qualifier, Phase 2, Group C. LGD International taking on Neo.int. International. Got another series coming up later on. There's going to be our Dazzle. So, I mean, to be honest, the Dazzle pick, I don't mind at all. I feel like Dazzle, for the most part, is a bit of an underutilized hero. Poison Touch actually is very effective when used the right way and in conjunction with the right heroes. He gives you a little bit of lane sustain, not to mention the big get-out-of-jail-free card that is Shallow Grave. And Weave is just amazing. I feel like Weave is one of the most underrated abilities in the entire game. The amount of armor you lose if you're caught in Weave and the amount of armor your team gains if they're in Weave is just massive. Really, I mean, you're talking a swing in excess of 20 to 30 armor depending on throughout that fight. And it's just gigantic. So they're going to have some team fight potential, and they're going to have the potential to fight early. I really wouldn't mind a Quas Wex Invoker here. The magic damage out of Queen of Pain should be more than enough to complement the Lifestealer. Their right click is going to be a little lacking until Lifestealer gets up a handful of core items. And the way they build that Lifestealer is going to be something we want to keep an eye on. Is he going to go Drums, Sanj, and Yasha? But anyway, taking a look at the way the lanes wind themselves out, Templar Assassin will be the final pickup for LGD Gaming. Would expect to see her mid. And it's really a question of where LGD is going to end up putting that tri-lane. If they're anticipating an offensive tri-lane, I don't think they're going to want to dodge it. And I don't think they should dodge it. But if they solo the Invoker in the long lane, I mean, that's just a situation that if the lanes don't work out, there's pretty much no bouncing back from it for the most part if you happen to be that Invoker. So we'll keep an eye on it and see exactly where everyone's going to wind up. For now, though, how about we take a look at our lineups? We're going to have Harchiko playing on our Shadow Demon. Invoker will be handled by Blah. Dazzle will be played by Lei. Lifestealer will be handled by the Captain, Ninja Boogie. And Queen of Pain will be played by Question Marks. On the other side of the river, we're going to have 1437 playing our Rubik. And he's playing Rubik in the hood, man. I'm not going to lie. I think this is an awesome set, but it's gangsta Rubik. It is ghetto Rubik. That's all it is. It is ghetto Rubik running around in his hoodie in the wrong part of town, doing wrong things. Clockwork, going to be handled by Misery. Templar Assassin will be played by God. Darkseer, handled by Brax. And Weaver, going to be played by Pycat. And yep, here comes the offensive tri-lane. Very expected. Invoker is setting up shop. Oh, I love the fact that he's got the 80s villain hair. Love the fact that he's got the 80s villain hair. We scroll in. Can't get close when he comes back out. I'll take a look at him. But pretty stable stuff so far. Let's see, where's Arya? Hanging out right there. Rubik just keeping an eye on things. He's already got himself a ward down. And pretty much what I predicted. Now, the kill potential is going to be there for Neo.int. Make no mistake about it. But they're up against the lineup that if they engage at a time when they shouldn't, or they get too far forward at any point, they will be punished. The ease of executing the combination that this tri-lane is going to want to put together, which is cogs and telekinesis, is just unbelievably simple. It really is. So far as their own tri-lane, not particularly hard to execute. But just given the way Weaver works as a hero, you can't give him an inch or he'll take a mile. And even with Rage, Ninja Boogie doesn't have a whole lot of room for error farming up here. He's going to need good farm. I mean, Lifestealer needs his items. Pycat is going to be able to harass him pretty effectively. Should be able to last it pretty effectively as well. But it's going to be a battle of the supports as it always is. And we already see Misery has his first point into Cogs. So no big surprise there. Blah down here is going Xord. He's got at least his first point there. Brax is going to be able to do this all day long. This is not a particularly good matchup for Blah at all. He can come out, he can do some damage. Once he gets a couple of points into Quas, he'll be able to cold snap and maybe ward that off a little bit. But for the most part, he'll be focusing on his own farm. Going with Xord, they're going to be relying on him for damage early on here. And, you know, that's not a big problem for me. The only thing I really don't like is they lack any real good way to initiate outside of just go for it, do your damage, and hope you come out ahead. LGD, on the other hand, has a lot of great ways to initiate. They have Cogs with the hook. They have Darkseer with his ability to vacuum people into the Cogs once they go down. That is just devastating, by the way. It is awful to get hooked, and then you think, okay, you only got one. It looks like we're going to be okay. Then all of a sudden, everyone is vacuumed in, especially early on when the mana pools are very low on a lot of these heroes. And losing that amount of mana to the Cogs can really just make it so you can't execute your skill set. Big, big problem. And one of the things that makes Clockwork such a potent hero at the early stages. The matchup here in mid, two of the stronger mids in the entire game, Queen of Pain and Templar Assassin. Usually what happens when you see this matchup is the Queen of Pain does pretty well for a while, but the more points that Templar Assassin gets, or the more points she puts into Refraction, I should say, the more levels she gets, it becomes a bit harder for the Queen of Pain to deal with. Shadow Strike helps out a lot, but still the last hitting, the splash damage off of Psyblades can just be very, very difficult. And that's something Queen of Pain can't allow to happen at all. Cannot cede rune control to this Templar Assassin. Doing that is cause for concern. Back to the tri-lane. LGD trying to make this work for them, but for the most part, Lifestealer's coming out ahead here. And they're executing this well, and I'll tell you why. They're not getting out of position. Again, everything about LGD's tri-lane is about punishing bad positioning and punishing heroes that get too far forward or are playing too aggressive. And so far, they've been aggressive enough to help free up farm for the Lifestealer. But they have not been too aggressive to be caught out. And this might change. Tracking him through the jungle. They are going to spot him. And there's our Templar Assassin. He's got help there, but, I mean, what can he do other than try to run? He disrupts himself, but that just basically guarantees he's dead. First blood goes to a Templar Assassin, who they certainly did not want to give that first blood to. And that's just a mental error. I mean, heading in that direction, fine if you want to do that. And now poor Lay's getting body blocked by Pycat. The Cogs are there, and Misery drops them. And remember what I said about bad positioning? About being places you shouldn't be, and how they had a team that can make you pay for that? And I was talking more about fine edge stuff, being in the wrong position in your own tri-lane. In your own tri-lane. But this is just being spotted and caught out, wandering the map to no real purpose. So LGD off to a great start again. Brax continues to be utterly annoying. As annoying as he possibly can be. Just pulling these creeps like crazy. And yeah, he's just going to go ahead and give him the old loop-to-loop. He's quite fine to take a little bit of damage, given he has a Ring of Health and a Stout Shield. And hang on. Pycat in some trouble. They will not be able to get him. Oh, Pycat. Walking between the raindrops. Man does not need an umbrella. Makes it away with next to no health. He's level 3. And that would have been a big kill for them. That would have helped them a ton to get him off the map for a little while. His farm is not spectacular at all. And Lifestealer, Ninja Boogie's playing a good game this time. I feel like he was a bit outdrafted in Game 1, to be honest. But so far, they've done a decent job. They fed 2 kind of silly kills just by being spotted wandering the map with no real purpose. But other than that, this tri-lane is going fairly well. The bottom tower is about to drop just because of Darkseer being Darkseer. Not a whole lot he could do there even if he really wanted to. Pycat now back up to half health. And this start for Ninja Boogie, very solid. Boom. Oh, nope, it's going to go all the way down south, actually. managed to hit the creeps as they came through. But so far, other than those initial 2 kills, quiet on the western front. Now Rubik's engaged upon. 1437 might be in trouble. Eats the poison touch, uses telekinesis. He's dropped down. They're going to trade at least 1 for 1. Cogs go down as well. Pycat has a bead on Harchiko. Will not be able to get him. Saw the TP, knew there was really no potential to kill him. In the meantime, Darkseer has added the tier 1 bottom to the casualty list of this game. And now Pycat level 4, level 5 on the Lifestealer. And Lifestealer so far just has boots. He's got 1,100 gold in the bank. Hold that thought. We're going to have, this is, oh, misery. Going to eat a big time Sonic Wave. But ES able to barely get away and bottle himself back up. Here comes 1437. Giving chase. Don't know that he's going to chase too far, though. But ES is level 6, as we just saw. He's actually level 7. Used Sonic Wave, got himself a kill, so... Neolution playing a much better game, too. I'll say that much. Much more stable. Giving themselves a chance at the mid-game. Problems, though, are that as well as the Lifestealer is farming in comparison to Pycat, the other 2 top farmers are Darkseer and Templar Assassin. Darkseer has 54 last hits at 7 minutes. 7 minutes into this game. He's on pace to hit about 140. And... yeah, I mean, he's not a hero who, of course, is going to scale well because he builds damage items or anything like that. I mean, obviously. But him being able to get up a quick mech, quick pipe, and whatever else he happens to want, utterly essential for his team. And looking at Neolution's lineup, a quick pipe would certainly be a good choice if he does want to go that direction. We're going to have an engagement mid. Harchinko's going to be the target. Here comes LGD. Refraction charges, meld. More than enough to get that kill. Now they're going to re-engage and go 1 for 1. So Templar Assassin trades herself for a support. Not the most optimal trade in history. 1437 doesn't afraid of anything. Right on top of misery. The Cogs did not lock her in. Had just enough mana to blink away. Nice effort. Knew they were going to attempt that at some point in the middle of an engagement like that. Just such a really solid way to try to gank. Full Exort build on Blah right now. He's got 1 point in the Quas and 1 into Wax, so he's looking to hit very hard. And he's already doing okay, hitting for 116 damage, but Brax just doesn't care. The guy's already level 8, almost level 9, same as the Invoker. Back to Ninja Boogie, has picked up his treads now. So, staying very stable once again, wants to be able to pursue his opponents if he is able to land a fortuitous set of open wounds. And Poison Touch in conjunction with that really is just so hard to deal with. 3 to 4, 7 kills on the board in an 8-minute game here in mid. God continues to just pound away. Get himself some last hits. Has gone phase boots, most likely working his way up to a blink dagger. Actually been seeing more Templar Assassins forego the blink, which I think is it's questionable. Obviously, I'm not a professional player. But more times than not, when I see the blink skipped, it tends to bite them in the butt. But we'll see. Ninja Boogie continuing to trade blows here with Pycat. Taking a look at the early gold, we can see 3,000 to the advantage of LGD, 500 experience, but pretty much all of that just to the farming advantage that TA and Darkseer in particular have had. Darkseer is at 73 last hits, 73 at 9 minutes. Just continuing to stack dim bills. And Pycat is doing a good job, and this is what makes a Weaver so miserable. He is beginning to close that gap a little bit. He's still trumped quite well by the Lifestealer, and again, Ninja Boogie playing a much better game of Dota this time around. But at this point, now that he's level 6, he's got his ult, he's going to have Shikuchi, which is infinitely spammable almost, especially since he has a Ring of Basilisk. They're going to engage on Misery. He drops the Cogs. Poison Touch, Disruption on the other side of it. Here comes the Sunstrike. That will connect, and down he goes. Well done there. Pycat now has a bead on Harchiko. Shallow Grave is going to allow him to get away. And Lei, not so lucky, used his grave to bail out his buddy. Ends up trading his life for it. If they can get Boogie here, that'd be a big coup. Sonic Wave catches 2 in the face. Pycat uses his ulti, however. And Meld gonna connect on Ninja Boogie. There's the side trap. He rages through it, however. And God, is he gonna dive this? He will. Open wound's gonna slow him down. Here comes Pycat, giving chase on over into the woods. Now the TP reaction gonna come. That's gonna be Lei back up and ready to fight. And G playing absurdly aggressive. Unable to get another kill on the board. Not a horrible trade, all things told there, for Neolution. And I like their movement so much better. I mean, again, I felt the draft went the way of LGD last time. But for the most part, it was the movement of LGD and Neolution's incapability of dealing with it. Now, though, they are moving, they're reacting, they're making solid decisions, and they're keeping themselves in the game. The farm rates have made the gold stick at about 3,000. But as big as that lead is at this stage of the game, it's not insurmountable by any stretch. Keeping an eye on Pycat. Want to see what he wants to pick up, and it looks like it will be an armlet on the Lifestealer, which is about as cookie cutter as it gets, and I don't mean cookie cutter in a negative way whatsoever. But, you know, it gives you a nice amount of punch, it gives you some survivability, but it pretty much locks you into the idea that you want to be aggressive once that armlet is done. You don't want to farm an armlet and then go ahead and farm an assault cuirass, usually. You want to farm an armlet, continue to farm, but start spending time running with your other damage dealers. Spend time infested into the Queen of Pain. Spend time running around with Shadow Demon. That way, when you engage, Invoker can line up an easy Sunstrike following the disruption, and then you'll have open wounds to seal the deal. If you're in LGD International shoes right now, the name of the game is going to be Teamfight. Weaver needs a little bit more room. Pycat is keeping up with the Joneses to a point. He's made up some considerable ground, actually. Now within striking distance of the Lifestealer in terms of pure out-and-out farm. He's got 32 in comparison to the 46 and 47 of a Lifestealer and the Queen of Pain. But the Darkseer, again, just farming, stacking bills, man. He's got his mech already. Mech done, short of 11 minutes. Looks like he just completed it as well. So after this, really up to him what he wants to pick up. He could go Scythe of Ice, and I wouldn't mind that one little bit, just because of how effective it would be at shutting down the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain, you get the jump on her, get a beat on her. She gets hooked and then cogged. You surge in, Scythe of Ice, then vacuum everyone into the cogs as well. Would go a long way. Would also be good against the Lifestealer. Lifestealer is a hero that is a slave to his abilities. He is very reliant on Rage in particular to make him work as a hero. And if you can Scythe him before he can Rage and then blow him up while he's spending time as bacon, the hero is almost completely nullified. They're actually going to get a kill down here. Darkseer is going to be cleaned up, but there's help on the way. Misery and 1437 got a spot out lane. There's the telekinesis. Right into the cogs. No way home. Going to buy some time, do some damage under cover of Shallow Grave, but we'll be cleaned up. No problem. In the meantime, though, worth mentioning that this is happening. Pycat actually opted to get a medallion. Now, this is really smart team play. He knows his farm is the best to begin with, but the armor reduction from Meld, along with the armor reduction from the armlet, or excuse me, from the medallion, lets them take that Roshan very quickly and take it secretly. So that's an Aegis already up on our Templar Assassin, who's been having a pretty solid game so far to begin with, and she's only now 300 gold away from Blink Dagger, if that's going to be her choice, which I can only imagine it will. Lifestealer, still sitting near the top, 57 last hits, but Brax, just a machine right now, has 500 additional gold in his inventory. And once that Blink Dagger is done, which should be any minute now, yeah, 100 gold, 2 last hits, should have it done, yeah, 1 more. But, have that ready to roll. That's probably going to be the word go for them. They've been playing some fairly aggressive Dota, and now Ninja Boogie actually rages out. And there's the medallion revealing itself. He's going to take a decent amount of damage, and that's something else I didn't really talk about. Outside of what it allows him to do with Roshan, just how cool Templar Assassin is in the way that Meld works with that item, no matter who it's built on. All of a sudden, Lifestealer's just not that invincible. Now, TA went in for the last hit. He's going to go ahead and Meld. Sentry's down, though. He's down to half health, but blowing up the Queen of Pain forces her out. Sunstrike, though, pops the Aegis. Now, that's really some sloppy Dota. They got nothing out of that. And he's going to come back up. And he's hanging around way too long here. I mean, he's got Misery. Finally. Oh, the hook actually hits the creeps. There's a Sonic Wave. Misery in trouble. Vacuum, though. Brings 2 into the cogs. Shallow Grave keeps 1 up and fighting. Blah. Going to be forced to run for the moment. Hachiko, not far from death either. Oh, big Meld. Just melts Lay. He'll be auto-attacked down. Now, Blonde Hachiko looking for safety, running for the well. Ion Shell on God, but now the Cold Snap. doing some damage. Melds away from that last auto attack. So LGD, and to be honest, one of the sloppier fights I think I've ever seen them take. And again, this is my first time casting them as a squad, but just really some sloppy decision-making there in mid. They still managed to come out ahead, make it 6-10. That gold hovering around 5,000 to their advantage, 4,000 experience. So they are winning this game, make no mistake about it. Blink Dagger, now available on the TA, as we saw. Back to the Darkseer. I want to see what his next item is going to be. That's really my big question mark. He could go straight up for a pipe to just try to nullify the magic damage output from the Invoker and the Queen of Pain. Or Shadow Demon could just get a solo kill. Actually, was he solo? Didn't even see where that happened. That was, oh yeah, over in the jungle. Now Blah is going to be spotted out. He's got help in the form of Lei, though. And Misery, not going to toss the hook. And now spotted out. Here comes Queen of Pain to try and help out. Side traps down. G has to run, being forced out. They're really just playing YOLO style right now. G in particular, like, what was he doing there? That's one of those... I'll get to that in a minute. Let's see if there's going to be a reprisal here. Up at top. Pycat swinging with Ninja Boogie. Ninja Boogie might be in trouble here. He's got 10 wand charges if he needs them, and he may want to spend them. There's the medallion. Nope. TP reaction enough to force Pycat back. But... you know, not to knock on the guy too much, but it's one of those things where you see a TA hanging out right here, and yeah, she had an invis, but what was the goal? I mean, was it vision? Wards are much better for that. And then when she was spotted, she turned to fight when she was basically surrounded by no vision at all. Her teammates were really in no position to help. Hold on. Pycat's going to dive. Lei gets himself a solo kill. Here comes the Sunstrike. Ooh, Pycat took it right on the back. Oh, tower shot does kill him. Oh, Weaver. A little too close, my friend. Got a little too close to the tower after being very cheeky and diving the enemy's tower. 9-11. Neo.int continues to make a game of this. And I think that's impressive in and of itself. I talk a lot about this whenever I stream Dota or esports in general. I mean, I only stream Dota now. But even back to my StarCraft days. I find it so admirable when a team can take, or an individual can take, what in all honesty is a pretty embarrassing loss, and then bounce back and put it together and put on a good show in the follow-up game. Because it's not like these guys got a lot of time to shake that off. And yeah, they're professional players, but it's never easy. What a hook! Misery gets down the cogs, but Queen of Pain able to get away. Now Misery might be in trouble. Another good Sunstrike connects. Almost all of his health gone. Sonic Wave connects with 2 and cleans up the Warlock. Poison Touch gonna hit Brax. And throws off one more Ion Shell. Wisely, Neo.int decides not to pursue this out. And they're really swinging well, man. They're really getting a lot out of this lineup. Blah's going to be caught out, though. Here he comes back. Now he's going to be forced up at Lei. Going to be blown up. Disruption. Good vacuum right into the wall. They're going to be forced to pull back. Queen of Pain wants to do damage before that happens, though. Going to chase them out. And another Sunstrike. Oh, 1437. Has his shoelaces singed that time. And I said during the draft that I really do prefer a Quasflex Invoker for the most part. But Blah is doing everything he needs to do. If you're going to run an X-Sword Invoker, you had better have a good start, and you damn well better be hitting your Sunstrikes. And for the most part, he has. He's been doing a lot of damage, getting a lot out of Sonic Wave. And LGD, though, following that engagement. And this is, when you see something like this happen where an engagement doesn't really go either way, but one team is immediately able to go ahead and push a tower, it's almost always due to support items, just being more fleshed out on one side than the other. Having the mech up is just such a big deal. And Ninja Boogie actually doesn't have his armlet yet. That's really surprising to me. And, I mean, he was being pursued and harassed a lot by Pycat while he was farming. But at 18 minutes in, there's really no excuse for him not to have that, given that he had a very good start, all things considered, in a tri-lane on tri-lane situation. As is, the gold still hovering around 5,000. Was heading the way of Neo.int briefly, but that last tower death kind of reversed that trend. Brax is going to be going for a pipe as anticipated. He's added his Hood of Defiance. That's going to help out so much against the Invoker and the Queen of Pain. And that's where you kind of got to worry. And it comes back to what I was talking about, how even though teams can trade even, you just see one team that seems to have come out ahead, even though they didn't in any other measurable way. it's usually just because there's a mech up on the other team, or 1 or 2 set of arc boots that lets them turn right around and get back into the fight. And that pipe going to be an item that makes it very hard for Queen of Pain and Invoker to engage preemptively. It's really hard whenever the other team can just pipe and force their way under a tower. Very hard to engage into that and know that you could have an entire Sonic Wave's worth of damage almost completely negated. Pycat continuing to farm himself up. He's still way behind, and Neo.int has done a good job. They did a good job in their lane, and for the most part, and in applying pressure to him when and where they can. They've done a pretty decent job of not allowing him to be that carry. Oh, Sunstrike dodged by Pycat. There's a Sonic Wave, though. And Pycat going to use his ult. Here comes the Meteor. Drops the rock, and Pycat will make it away. And Blah's playing a very good Invoker. I'm going to give him credit. That was a nice little run-through of his skills, but now he's got to be careful. Little rocket spam coming courtesy of the Clockwork. And they've got a sentry here. There we go. Soul Catcher out. Another sentry. And the disruption catches him right at the edge of the range. Cold Snap locks him in place. Will they be able to clean him up? Here comes Queen of Pain. She has a Sonic Wave. She's got a blink in about 2 seconds. There it is. Barely able to track him down just as Shikuchi went off. And Neo.int manages to tie this game up. In terms of kills, at the very least, we're at 11 to 11. Ninja Boogie going to be leading the charge on Brax, and now here's Clockwork. Misery drops the cogs. Damage is done, however. She's going to lose a bit of mana. She has just enough to blink away, and that's about it. Not willing to engage with Ninja Boogie in range, though. So Neo.int continues to play this out pretty well. The gold and the experience. The experience is definitely a telltale sign that they are playing this mid-game quite well. They were behind a few thousand, and now it's almost cut down to 0. And the only way you do that is just by executing better than the other team. God has added the Mithril Hammer to his inventory. Queen of Pain, in the meantime, picks up an Orchid Malevolence. Really like this pickup a lot. I like the fact that they now have a way to reliably gank the Weaver. I mean, we saw all that it took to bring him down there, even though he was way out of position and dead to rights. Still took a lot, and he almost got away. With that Orchid now, they're going to be able to take either him or the Templar Assassin out of the equation. Speaking of, they're going to pursue him out. There's the Shadow Poison. Sunstrike is lined up. It connects. Look at all that magic damage connecting all at once, and that's a very dead Lanaya. 12 to 11, and for the first time since First Blood, Neo.int has a lead in kills. They are playing a great mid-game version of Dota. Great mid-game in Dota. This should be a better way to say that. I'll think on it. I think I deserve a little credit. It's still like 4 in the morning my time. In the meantime, down bottom, Pycat laying in the Ninja Boogie. Misery's there. Beautiful use of the cogs. Blocks him out. Rage only going to last so long. He's going to look for a kill in the meantime. Surge gets him away. Infest gets his gloves back up. Good vacuum brings him back into the fight. And with Weaver dropping, or excuse me, with the Weave coming down, they may want to fight this out. Here comes the whole team. They want to engage. Pipes up, however. Pycat, what an unbelievable shallow grave. 1437. Are you kidding me, brother? Stole it and managed to get it off at the last possible second. However, it all comes for naught as the damage over time does get the kill on the ultra low health Weaver. Oh my goodness. I don't care that he died anyway. I just don't care. 1437. Playing a great Rubik so far and stretching his legs some using the shallow grave. One of those exciting moments. Neo.int, by the way, continues to be ahead. 13 to 11. That gold, slowly but surely, turning its lip up towards the 0 line. The experience is actually in their favor right now. And now, G gonna head back on into the Roche pit. He's got a Mithril Hammer. Want to see what he's gonna pick up. Could be a Deso. Could also be a BKB. 99 times out of 100, you will see a Mithril Hammer built into something that's not a BKB, just because usually a hero that wants a BKB wants the extra health that comes with an Ogre Club. But I have seen it done before. I have seen the Mithril Hammer come out on Lanaya in particular. So I'm going to guess Deso. She has enough for the Ogre Club, but has yet to pick it up. Has yet to spin that gold. So we'll wait and see. She could just about... She's about 1,000 gold away right now from having the full Desolator, if that's indeed her choice. Just needs that second Mithril Hammer, which she more or less has, than the recipe. And keeping an eye on him. Looking for a little bit more right-click, if that's the direction he's going to go. Ninja Boogie continues to farm up. Gonna go ahead and switch it to the net worth tab. Darkseer at the top, no surprise. Little surprised to see that our buddy is not doing better than he has been. He's got his armlet up and his treads. He's added a belt of strength as well. But I feel like he should just be in much better position. Darkseer, after the pipe, is actually going to go Shivas. He's added the armor to his inventory. And it's not a bad call whatsoever. I mean, it certainly fits in. I feel like Scythe of Ice might be a better pickup for him, though. But as is, looks like they want to prioritize 5-on-5 instead of the ability to isolate one. And speaking of team fights, LGD moving as a pack. They're smoked up near mid and making their way over towards that top lane. Lucky for Neo.int, though, they are spread out fairly well. Down at bottom, Blah has added an ultimate orb to his inventory. We'll see if that's going to turn itself into a Scythe of Ice. Now, Ninja Boogie spotted out. He's going to rage, want to engage, but not a lot of options. He may be able to get a kill. There's a shallow grave, though. That's going to allow him to survive. Sonic Wave catches Pycat. All of a sudden, a team fight breaks out. Went to a game of Dota, and team fight breaking out all over the place. Now, another great shallow grave. The Aegis will be popped, but G back up off of the Aegis. Should be able to clean this up. Brings the Lifestealer down. Rock's going to be dropped. And Queen of Pain continues to clean house. LGD forced to pull back. Sonic Wave going to catch two. G's going to be careful. He's low health. Force staff up. They're going to chase him. Refraction going to buy him some time. He melds out. They have no vision. Now Cold Snap on 1437. Being chased under his own tower. He stole Sonic Wave. Uses it. Buys Templar Assassin enough time at the cost of his own life. And now Harchiko trying to mix it up, likely to buy himself a casket with his efforts. Sonic Wave not going to catch anything. Side Trap slows him down. Now the blink back on Lei. Lei able to get the grave off. G playing very aggressive, might pay the price. Mech gets him back up and fighting, but not for long. Cold Snap enough with the right clicks to clean that up. Blah making his run back for the lane now. 18-13. And Neo.int is beginning to turn this game around in a very tangible way. That gold will jump. The experience is in their favor. 26 minutes in. And it's like watching a brand new team. Like watching a team playing with a lot more confidence, a lot more swagger, and really in some pretty decent shape, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm really anxious to see if they're going to press this. Right now, I feel like taking their foot off the gas pedal would be a huge mistake. Mech is almost done on Lei. Going to be coming out more than 15 minutes later than the mech came out on Darkseer. Misery's added a Staff of Wizardry to his inventory. We'll see what he wants to do with that, if that's going to end up being a Force Staff or something else. Blah, in the meantime, has 3,400 gold on him. And want to watch his items as well. He might actually go Scotty if he really wants to maximize his potential to just right-click like a beast. He's still got the ultimate orb up and waiting to see what he's going to spend his gold on. Just continuing to try and farm up Ninja Boogie. But I feel like they can apply a lot more pressure. It's going to be a BKB pickup on Templar Assassin, so it's kind of what I was talking about. TA is one of those heroes, especially if you're looking to hit a mid-game Roche timing, that will go for the Mithril Hammer before the Ogre Club in building a BKB. Having that BKB up is a really big deal, and I feel like he could have had it a lot earlier and would have made a big difference against the magic damage output of Neo.int. As is, though, Neo capitalizing on what they're given. LGD looking to take something of their own, making their way through the Radiant side secret shop. There's the flare spam. Spots out Ninja Boogie. They're going to look to try and take this fight. Everybody's here. The whole gang's here. And there we go. Blinks in, does land the meld. Ninja Boogie moving in the wrong direction. Open wounds, though, going to turn it around. There's the BKB. Hook in, looking for the Cogs. Weave is thrown down. Cogs going to catch Misery. Rocks dropped. Everyone spreading themselves out now. Ninja Boogie wants to fight, can't get through. There's a Sonic Wave that connects on the south side. 1437 trying to make his way out. Ninja Boogie under cover of Shallow Grave might survive. 1437 might drop as well. No, Lei cleaned up. However, Queen of Pain ready to continue to turn this fight around. But so far, everything going the way of LGD. Able to make that fight work. And Queen of Pain trying to hustle. Hustle, girl. Heading back, bottling herself up with the haste room. The lone surviving member of Neo.int International. They end up trading 4 for 2. A much-needed win going the way of LGD. BKB, again, instrumental. And God's ability to survive there. LGD looks like they want to try and take themselves to tier 2 following that dust up. That goal beginning to arc its way back downward. Same with the experience. And that could not have come at a better time for them. It really couldn't have. Darkseer's picked up boots of travel, by the way. Just noticed that. So he's going to be everywhere he needs to be. Looks like PyCat will be building himself a Lincoln Sphere. And I think that's pretty okay. He's not being relied upon a whole lot for right-click damage. That's mostly the job of the Templar Assassin. And that's also one reason, by the way, that it's worth mentioning, that LGD had been struggling to take a team fight up to this point. They've got some really cool abilities. They've got a Rubik who can steal some really cool abilities. But their ability to just output consistent damage outside of TA has just been relatively low. Has not been where they would have wanted it to be. Blade of Alacrity picked up by G. We'll see what direction he wants to go with that. Misery still hasn't done anything with that Staff of Wizardry. 1437, tanking up as best he can. Has added a bracer to his inventory. Queen of Pain, opting to go ahead and get a Ghost Scepter now. Potentially working her way towards either a Scythe of Ice or a Lincoln Sphere. Either one would be acceptable, I think. Scythe of Ice might be optimal. But I like the Ghost Scepter pickup a ton. It just makes it so she can engage in. She can get into the middle of a big fight, use all of her abilities, and have a fairly reliable way of surviving. Just because LGD International, I mean, they have decent magic output as well as physical output in the right circumstances, but if she times it right, she should be able to just walk her way back out and not even have to worry about blinking. And looks like it's going to be a Yasha pick up here for G. Haven't seen a Yasha on a Templar Assassin in a while. That kind of harkens back to when she first went back into the game. And it may be very typical for them or in the Asian scene, but just haven't seen a Yasha into a Manta, which I would suspect is the direction he wants to go here. Just haven't seen that done a whole lot since way back when Templar Assassin was a brand new hero. Saw a decent amount then, but not since her nerf. Neo.int wants to try and extend their, well, cut down on the lead, I should say. Wants to try and carry on their momentum and try and get themselves some more gold, and they do, taking down the tier 1. LGD forced to play on the back foot here. In the meantime, PyCat continuing to farm himself up. He's not super far away from finishing his Lincoln Sphere now. That Lincoln's a very important item for him. And with that medallion, his damage output is actually a little deceptive. I said he wasn't being relied upon for a lot of physical damage in a lot of cases, just using Shikuchi an awful lot. But despite that, he is having some decent single target damage just because of the medallion. A very good pickup they've gotten a lot of use out of. Blah did go ahead and complete himself a Scythe of Ice. So they've got the ability to lock that Weaver down and to punish the TA if she continues to play super aggressive, as she has so far in this game. He's got an absurd amount of move speed. I mean, when he's using phase boots, he's up in the 400s. So he's going to be able to play a little risky and have that plus the Blink Dagger to bail him out of trouble. And of course, his ability to stick on a target, very important. TA a lot like a Lifestealer, even with maxed out side blades. The range is nothing to write home about. It's not absolutely excellent by any stretch. So the ability to pursue and to make sure that you can't be kited out, absolutely essential. And taking a look back at Ninja Boogie, has picked up his Basher, and he has picked up a Hyperstone as well. So slowly filling out that inventory. Take a look at the kills and the deaths. We can see Queen of Pain, played by question marks, has been having a fantastic game. 11-1 right now, 7-4 on TA, 3-1 on the Darkseer, 3-2 and 12 on the Invoker. And I feel like Blah has played exceptionally well. Very fortuitously timed with that Sunstrike. LGD caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They don't have sentry wards down, but have to know there's going to be some... Oh, what a hook coming from the shoelaces. Unable to follow it up, however. And Neo.int dodges a bullet there. Didn't dodge the hook, but they dodged the bullet. That was the inevitable follow-up if it was any hero but the Queen of Pain. The Roshan Pit now looks to be the center of attention as we approach 33.5 minutes into this Game 2 of this best of 3. Neo.int has played such a good game of Dota, especially compared to Game 1. Game 1 was an absolute blowout. Game 2, they're giving LGD everything they've got. No doubt about it. And right now, looking to take a fight. Rattling their saber around this Roche pit and on up into mid. They have only one outer tier tower remaining, still 4 remaining for LGD. They're looking to cut down on that sometime soon. Blah, caught out, heard the vacuum go off, the Shivas, which is complete on Brax now. So Brax basically, I mean, he could sell that Bassi or do something with that Bassi, but after that, even, you know, if he sells Soul Ring, that's fine too, but given he went Boots of Travel, he's probably not going to want to sell that Soul Ring. He's just about fully built. Lincoln Sphere now done on Pycat, going to be a lot more willing to fight these matches out. Force Staff was the pickup for Misery. Rubik, still sitting on just Shreds. And Bracer, no problem, buddy. Poor Hachiko running around in some tattered-ass boots. Just his tier 1s. Mech, finally done on Lei. And 3,200 gold in the bank of Queen of Pain. And she's looking to set up the Lifestealer bomb. The Infest bomb. As she's got a passenger, got a baby on board. And this is the kind of thing, if she can do it the right way and catch enough heroes with her own burst and the burst that comes from infesting out. And here we go. They're going to spot out Misery. Misery engaged upon, silenced immediately, and blown up before he could do anything. The rest of LGD forced back under the safety of their own tower. And using the courier to go ahead and de-ward via the sentry ward on the low ground. Roshan looks to be the target. 20 seconds until he's back up. Now, they're going to be able to take this relatively quickly. If they want to challenge it or stretch it out, they need to start doing so now. And Neo.int is just going to re-engage. They're going to catch 1437. He's hexed. Can they follow it up? There's the silence. He's going to make a run for it. Pipe is popped to try and keep him alive. They're going to dive it out. Here comes G. Going to use it. There's a vacuum right underneath the tower. BKB's popped. Ninja Boogie trying to make a run will be telekinesis. There's Weave that goes down. Blah doing what he can from a distance. G laying into Ninja Boogie. Brax hexed out now. Being just banged down, chopping wood. Sonic Wave going to catch G. But there's the tornado to take him up in the air. And now, fresh off the respawn, the hook does connect. One more kill added to the total. And so far, it's a 5-0. Neo.int playing this game out so well. Misery tried to get back in and mix things up. Now he might be in trouble. They're not done on the south side either. They're even going to be able to catch the Weaver. So Weaver ends up dead, and Misery, the first to die, the last standing now. All told, in about a 3-minute span, if even that. Hell, make it about a minute-long span. Everyone on LGD International dies. Now they're making bacon down in the Roche pit. Should get this without any problem whatsoever. 1437 is there, showing his faces around. And Misery making his way over. The rest of the team not going to be up in any time. Misery might try to time this out. Let's see if he can do it. Trying to guess it, trying to guess it. There it is. He didn't get it. Went for it, didn't get it. Nice try, Misery, buddy. Nice try.
Sound of mind.
Very good effort, but Neo.int, man, they are making a name for themselves here in this best of 3. That gold almost back to 0. That experience well in their favor, approaching 5 digits in their favor now. The net worth, 3 of the top 4 belonging to Neo.int International. Tops on the board, Queen of Pain. Our mystery man has himself an Aegis, a Scythe of Ice, an Orchid, and a Ghost Scepter. Looking to be in good shape. And at this point, LGD might be in a little bit of trouble. And the potential for this existed when we saw the Weaver have such a poor start. He's built very defensively so far. Again, the medallion pickup's great. It allows him to get on a target, stay on a target. But when you reach this stage of the game, 37 minutes into this game now, people are going to build Scythe of Ice. They're going to build Orchid. They're going to have ways to make Shikuchi no longer your get-out-of-jail-free card. And G has been doing a fairly good job, but has built, I mean, he's built a mobility build. Has not been giving them the damage they really need. And I feel like that's the weakness in this lineup. They have a lot of cool abilities that synergize together really well. Side trap cogs, telekinesis, so on and so forth. Vacuum to say, to say nothing of that. But they just have not been finding their damage in a lot of these battles. And basically once Neo.int picks one off, there's no way that LGD can even stand and fight. And this map control that for the longest time, even though Neo.int has been winning fights for a while now, the map control now beginning to move in the opposite direction. Blah's got himself some cheese. Looks like he's on the way to BKB. He's picked up his Ogre Club. G's going to find himself a regen rune. Keeping an eye on the Lifestealer. I feel like Lifestealer's farm has really been unimpressive, all things considered. He is just now beginning to participate in fights consistently. And I feel like he should be a bit further ahead than he is, but for the most part, okay, there, that explains it. He had a full Sarkirus on the way. Okay, with that, now, yep, Pycat gonna be hexed out. They're not gonna chase him back behind the tower. But just trying to hold him down, keep him down. All they really need to do. The defensive potential for LGD is there. They have that to fall back on, no doubt about it. So the onus at this point, even though they have a ton of momentum behind them, the onus is definitely on Neo.int to execute using that Aegis and that cheese. They don't want to let this Aegis fade without getting something valuable for it. Darkseer's got 2,500 gold in the bank. I always forget the buyback. That's I. The buyback status is about half on both sides, and we are getting to that time when it really matters. Now, Ninja Boogie's going to be spotted out. Here comes Queen of Pain. They're going to hex out Brax. Now the Sonic Wave goes off as well. Weave goes down. Mech keeps him up, but not for long. BKB's on God, however. And the Infest into Queen of Pain, giving him the ride out of trouble. Hachiko being pursued out now. There's a disruption on the Weaver. Here comes our Queen of Pain looking to pour the damage on. Infest back out. Pycat making a run for it. Uses the ulti. Gets himself back up to full health and bailed out by that Lincolns. However, oh, Ninja Boogie now re-engaged upon, but G playing so aggressive. There's a hook coming from nowhere. Throws down the cogs, but it's too late. And now he's the target. Misery with a little bit of Save Your Buddy syndrome. Force Staff doesn't get him out of the way. Ninja Boogie still at about a quarter health, but unable to clean him up. Buyback on TA means this is all in for them in one way or another. Queen of Pain still up and running. They should get lay, no doubt about it. And they do. They get one return kill. But a buyback on TA at this stage of the game, that's a lot of gold that is going to be wasted for very little return. Spending a buyback to get, and to be honest, they probably would have got him anyway if G hadn't been there. So don't know if that buyback was necessary. And that gold for the first time, let's see, about where was that? I'd say 2 minutes in. For the first time in 38 minutes, give or take, that gold graph has crossed back over to zero line and into Neo.int's favor. The experience has been in their favor for quite some time. Neo.int playing a balls-out game of Dota, executing in the face of a team who is extremely heavily favored and who flat-out ran over them in Game 1. I love the heart and tenacity of a team like this. Here we go. G going to be caught, hexed out, and going to be jumped upon by the whole team. Force Staff going to get him out of trouble momentarily. Queen of Pain locked in, but BKB is spent. Is it worthwhile? Refractions there. Haste Rune going to allow him to get back to the high ground. Very fortuitous. Misery now the target. Just look how much right-click damage he's taking from Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain hitting for 220 damage, hitting very quickly, very tanky. Almost 2,000 health on her, 1,800 on the Invoker. And so far, LGD does not seem to have anything for them. This might be the beginning of the end if they can't get a big win soon. Pycat will be able to backdoor himself a tier 2. But if it costs them a Rax, don't know that that's the best trade in history, and it will cost them at least one melee Rax. They're going to go ahead and infest in, not even worry about the ranged Rax at this stage. Pycat trying to backdoor. Hachiko is right outside of his vision. We see the pings coming out. Queen of Pain's going to manage to get herself a kill in the meantime. They will go ahead and manage to bring down the ranged Rax at the same time. And now the TPs come in. Here's Hachiko, sentries down, and a ward. Oh, the Lincolns eats his disruption, uses his ult, gives him the old okie doke, and he's going to get away. No, Willie. Here they come. They're right on top. There's the silence. Pycat knew he was dead, stood, did what he could. Not nearly enough. And there's going to be a disconnect. We'll find out if that's a GG disconnect or a rage disconnect. I'm going to guess that was if that was a GG disconnect or an accidental disconnect is the way I should put it. Given he just flat out stopped running and started to auto attack, I'm going to guess that was probably an unintentional disconnect. 42 minutes, 42 seconds into this game too, and Neo.int looking to roll us up a Game 3 order. 31-18 they lead. The experience now into 5 digits for them in terms of advantage. 12,000 moving in their direction. The gold, it's not so much that they're ahead a ton in gold because they're not. I mean, less than 2,500 at 42 minutes into the game is absolutely nothing. That's a team fight. That's 2 minutes of uninterrupted farm. Well, not quite that much, but you get the drift. But the fact that they turned it around and swung at 7,500 gold to get it in their favor this much at all, that's what's impressive. Thanks for being here with us, guys. If you're just tuning in, I'm Ayesee, joined by nobody because my supposed co-caster slept his butt in. Don't blame him, but see, here's the thing, man. I'm up at 3 in the morning. 3 a.m. I'm up to cast these games. You mean to tell me some European pro players can't roll out at 8 in the morning? You mean to tell me I'm getting up so early that I get up, go brush my teeth, and the cows are knocking on the window telling me to go the fuck back, go the hell back to bed. That's what's happening. I'm up that early. And I can't get a European pro player to come co-cast with me. What's the world coming to? Anyway, guys, hope you're enjoying the broadcast. We'll be back underway momentarily. Gonna go ahead and pop out. Hey, got pretty good crowd. Thank you so much, guys. I'm really enjoying the opportunity to work with the G-1 League. Really enjoying the chance to get back into casting Asian Dota. And I'm really excited to be casting LGD International in particular, to take nothing away from Neo.int International. But LGD International, a team of players that I... A team of players that I've casted all individually when they were on different teams when I first got into casting Dota just about a year ago. And since they formed into LGD International, I hadn't had a chance to actually cast them live like this. So very excited, kind of a reunion of sorts. And very happy to be doing that, and unbelievably proud and honored to be offered the chance by G1 League to be an English broadcaster for this season. So, barring any sort of hang-ups, problems, what have you, I should be here for each and every broadcast, not just for the Asian qualifier, but all through the entire tournament. And I'm sure I'll have co-casters on from time to time, but for now, you're stuck with just me. Ain't nobody but me on the horn, baby. Back to the game. And what a game it is. More or less an Neo.int's game to lose. And Queen of Pain going to show us a Dagon. Queen of Pain says, you know what? Think I got enough survivability and utility items. Pretty sure. I'm just going to go ahead and get a level 2 Dagon up immediately. We'll see. Yeah, he can actually just continue to buy Dagon pieces if he wants. Yep, there's one. He's already got the level 2. Courier's going to go back. Let's see if he throws another one on it. Except Sentry Ward. Level 3 Dagon. Oh, probably going to bank for buyback. Yeah, that would be the right call to make. But anyway, back to the net worth. That Queen of Pain played very well, farmed very well, has had a great game. And I touched on this a lot during the draft, but this is when Lifestealer really has the easiest time. He had a good start in his offensive trial aim, which was pretty well executed out of Neo.int, make no mistake about it. But he does really well when he has another carry or major damage, mid-game damage dealer have a good game. Have a good start, and free the map up some from him. Take some pressure off of him in terms of where he needs to be in the mid-game. And they're going to go ahead and engage on this. Here comes the Rocks. Sonic Wave will connect, but G able to make it away. Under Surge plus all of his movement speed. Got a lot of movement speed. And in the meantime, Queen of Pain just racking up the kills, man. Queen of Pain is just dominating this game. And I do mean just utterly dominating. And 18-1. 18-1 on this Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain has more kills than, or has the same number of kills LGD has. Let me say that again. Queen of Pain, by herself, has as many kills in this game, this 45 or, yeah, roughly 45-minute game, has as many kills as the entirety of LGD International. I say he's doing all right. Now, Pycat's going to be the target. Just look at the damage output. And, nope, going to be cleaned up anyway. The bonus damage from Orchid, enough to finish that job off. And I don't know that LGD can do anything. And again, it comes down to their inability to really have any sustained damage output in those mid-game team fights. There's a vacuum. Shivas does some damage, but just too tanky now. Everyone is tanked up on the side of Neo.int. We're going to see him just go for it. He's going to be cogged in. He's in there with 2. BKB's going to be popped. And they should be able to clean this up. Yeah, Ninja Boogie gets way too far ahead. He jumps on board 1 creep. Blah's there. Now the Infest back out. They want to re-engage. And, jeez, 2 big swipes. Down he goes. 1-4-3-7 the next target. Queen of Pain back up, ready to fight. There's a vacuum into the wall. Shallow Grave going to keep Blah up and fighting for the moment. Mech's going to be used. In the meantime, Darkseer forced to run. Force staff, not enough to keep him safe and fighting any longer. Disruptions there. They're chasing Pycat. Pycat going to use his ult. Brings him back into the base. Buybacks on both sides. TA and Invoker want to get back into the fight. The second set of racks looks to be the prize. And it will be. Brax comes back out. Another good vacuum right into the same wall he threw down a while ago. Now G just blown up. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to find your G key and type GG if you're in LGD shoes. What an impressive game number 2 out of Neo.int. Literally, like watching two different teams. Got to be impressed with the way they played here. Again, bouncing back so well from a completely lopsided, and to be honest, it had to be embarrassing, loss in game number 1. Instead, they rolled to an impressive 46-minute win, 10,000 goal deficit at the end. And really, I'm just impressed as hell with these guys. Just impressed as hell. Game number 2 is in the books. We got a game number 3 on the way here in our first best of 3 of the day here at the G-1 League Asian Qualifiers, phase number 2, group letter C. Almost said number C, because that's how we roll. That's how I roll whenever I'm casting at 4 in the flipping morning. Hope you guys are enjoying the show and having as much fun as I am. An absolute blast here on G1 League, and more action on the way. Gonna have our deciding game, the rubber game, game number 3 in this international affair. Neo.int taking on LGD. That's heading your way next. Stick with us.